Don't believe the liberal media. The evolution of news and its influence on partisan politics. Following World War II, the broadcast industries of radio and television began to boom. Compared to printed media like newspapers, broadcasts found on radio and television enabled less educated Americans to inform themselves about politics. The FCC recognized the importance of these new sources of news and passed the Fairness Doctrine in 1949, requiring broadcast journalists to devote airtime to controversial matters of public interest and to offer contrasting views on those issues. By the late 1970s, more than 90% of Americans watched the three major broadcast television networks. Broadcast news empowered those previously uninformed voters and encouraged them to get to the polls. This demographic of voters tended to be less ideological, in part because they were always offered numerous perspectives on a given issue. Elections during the broadcast era were less partisan and had higher turnout rates. The introduction of cable in the early 80s forever altered the landscape of television and furthered the divisions between sources of news. Viewers now had programming options where none previously existed in the form of news, entertainment, and sports. In 1987, the FCC dissolved the Fairness Doctrine, citing that the growing competition from cable made it unnecessary. The consequences of cable on politics was quite tangible. The expansion and availability of entertainment options on television led to people watching less news. Without that tangential exposure to news, citizens are generally less knowledgeable and less likely to vote. Consequently, the voter turnout rates between entertainment and news consumers widened, and the loss of those less ideological entertainment fans led to a more partisan voting base. When it all boils down, a business is about one thing: money. With the Fairness Doctrine a thing of the past, the cable industry saw an opportunity to maximize profits by creating news programs that catered to particular political leanings. The development of the partisan media allowed Americans to choose the slant of their news, whether it be of the right or left wing. Conservatives and liberals alike report more exposure to those outlets that coincide with their beliefs, which is referred to as selective exposure. Journalistic objectivity is made irrelevant because news programs now carefully select what content to deliver based on the persuasions of the audience. The dissolution of the Fairness Doctrine eliminated the requirement that news anchors include contrasting views in their reports. People are no longer encouraged to think critically because their views are always being affirmed by the media they consume. The pervasive nature of the partisan media has resulted in a more polarized political climate in America, and the consequences of that polarization are most evidenced by the gridlock seen in Congress. Politicians have developed an aversion to compromise, and our country is worse off for it. The Fox News Channel is the poster child for the partisan media. Created in 1996 by Australian billionaire Rupert Murdoch, Fox was developed to provide a source of news to conservatives who believed the mainstream media was too liberal. It has since maintained the highest viewing numbers of any television news network, and though its tagline is fair and balanced, Fox's bias is quite clear.
Okay, but there's a big difference between Fox News and MSNBC. Do you know what that difference is?
Tell me.
No, but do you know what it is?
I'm asking you, what do you think it is?
So you concede you don't know what it is?
I don't know what it is, no.
We actually do hard news here from 9 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
8 hours of hard news,
Right.
all right? MSNBC doesn't do 1 hour of hard news. It's all, let's push the liberal democratic agenda from sign on to sign off. So this is a news agency here, Fox News.
I don't think anyone is going to be confused as to the ideological belief of most of the people who appear on Fox.
I think that's grossly unfair to the hard news reporters, okay?
I mean, Bill, what is it you think that I have said about the network or written about the network?
You think that we've corrupted the sanctity of fair news coverage?
I think...
That's what I think.
I think that ideological coverage of the news, be it of the right or be it of the left, has created a political reality in this country which is bad for America. I think it's made it difficult, if not impossible, for decent men and women in Congress, on Capitol Hill, to reach across the aisle and find compromise. And if we can't do that, Bill, we're going to be in the and we have been, I think, for the last few years, in a terrible situation in this country where politically we can't make deals anymore.
Bill O'Reilly claims that Fox News does hard reporting, but more often than not, the news that the network presents is riddled with false evidence and flawed logic. The simple fact is, almost 60% of Fox News reports are rated as false. The viewers of Fox consider the network to be a credible source of current events, but the reports they receive are generally sensationalized to coincide with their beliefs. In order to further the conservative agenda, Fox's delivery of current events has altered its viewers' sense of political reality. Its viewers are staunch in their beliefs, believing that any source but Fox will only push left-wing ideals. Fox News' representation of politics in this country has only served to damage the system by encouraging extremism and a refusal to compromise, and those ripples can be felt across the nation.